This is ESBR Boxing. Delighted, as always, to be joined by the voice of boxing, Mr. Adam Smith. Adam, thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
It's getting late. It's
What time is it? It's let's see what we are. It's nearly 1 o'clock. Yeah, it was actually a late one tonight, wasn't it? Because there were 5 fights on the zone, so it was a long night, and many of them went the distance. So yeah, but it was a great night and really enjoyed it. So another one in the books, but yeah, fantastic one on the south coast.
Yeah, no, we all enjoy a quieter August in the UK, but yeah, do appreciate your time speaking to us so late, Adam. On the main event tonight, Ryan Garner, was that a more one-sided victory than your performance? He was the slight favourite, but it was quite one-sided tonight.
Absolutely right. I expected it to be closer. I thought it was going to be possibly a 2 or 3 round in it, maybe in Garner's favour beforehand, but Rhys Belotti's an incredible gladiator, and he's had a fantastic run of form in the last couple of years to win the British and Commonwealth titles when he'd had all those defeats, and it looked like his career was petering out. But he's done brilliantly, and I think beforehand he really fancied this tonight. I think he thought he'd be too experienced and know too much for young Ryan, 28, 18th fight. But yeah, I thought Ryan Garner was terrific tonight. I thought he got off to a great start. I thought his rhythm was good, his speed, his movement, his unpredictability. He throws some really peculiar shots, and I mean, he must be an absolute nightmare to fight. He's also got a great engine. He's got a phenomenal fan base behind. He almost like fights with them. He's great to watch. He's exciting. You know, he reminds me of a sort of Paul Ingle of the old days. It's just non-stop, and he's clever with it as well. Class fighter, and I think Rhys was competitive tonight, but always that sort of step behind. He never quite got going, and ultimately, as much as your heart wanted to see him go the distance, it was a good stoppage by Victor Loughlin because he was hurt, and there was a long time left in the round, and there was no point seeing him take any more punishment. I know Rhys was unhappy about the stoppage, but he's a fighter, and sometimes fighters have got to be saved from themselves because he's a hell of a warrior. But it was Ryan Garner's night, and yeah, we love the Piranha. He's a lot of fun. He's a great story. He's had his troubles. He's knuckled down. He's taken this business seriously, and you know, he knows Frank Warren's behind him, and he's hoping for St Mary's.
Yeah, well, that's what we're all hoping for. That'd be fantastic, wouldn't it, next summer? Just one on the chief support, Adam. Close fight between Alois Jr. and Ellis Zoro. Do you think it was a bit of a reality check for Alois tonight?
I thought it was a close fight, and I thought Ellis was unlucky not to go home with something tonight, whether it was a draw, nicking a win, or even a sort of closer set of scorecards. I thought he was really good. I thought he gained in confidence. I think most of us felt that Alois Jr. would wipe him out pretty early because of what happened with Jar Bataille and Chev Clark and the form that Alois Jr. has been in. I've seen him spar. He hits very, very hard. Look, the fight was put together at fairly short notice, and I think maybe Alois himself felt that he would get the job done early, and when he didn't, maybe he not run out of ideas, but he didn't quite get going. He was a little bit stuck in the mud tonight. Look, judges might have liked the physical aggression, and maybe that's what they scored for, but I like the boxing of Zoro at times. It was a tight fight. I'd have had no problem if it was 1 round here or there. I think one card it was 2 rounds, and that's okay, but I thought Ellis was unlucky not to go home with something tonight. So a reality check for Alois Jr. Look, at 22, you're going to come up against these obstacles. He lost his professional debut. You know, he's knocked everyone out since then, and he stepped up against Ellis Zoro, and Zoro's a good fighter, and when he gets into a rhythm, he's a tough night's work. So, yeah, he'll learn something tonight, Alois, and sometimes you get a win on a bad night and you move on. He's with a phenomenal team with Ben Davison and Barry Smith. They'll go back to the drawing board. They'll work out what didn't quite go right tonight. But as I said, if you get a W on an off night, then yeah, you take it.
Yeah, obviously still a fantastic talent. We'll see what's next of him. Just a couple more things from me, Adam, before we round off. Fantastic performance by Oleksandr Usyk last week. We've been talking about it since, but boxing being boxing, people are talking about what's he going to do next, who's he going to fight next. One name that has been thrown around by Turki Al-Sheikh is Moses Itauma. Of course, fights Dillian White in 3 weeks. Can I just get your thoughts on that? Because I feel like sometimes when Turki Al-Sheikh says he wants something, a lot of the time it happens. Would it be a bit bonkers for that fight to happen, say, end of year and beginning of next year? Just going to get your thoughts on that, please.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's too early for Moses. I'm not going to go. His Excellency has changed the face of the sport, and he's put some unbelievable fight nights together and getting all the promoters to work, and the ring shows have been superb. I was at the one in New York a couple of weeks ago. I can't wait for Ring 4 in November. But I think one step at a time. Moses is a phenomenal fighter, a great talent, and may well be the heir apparent. But he's got a job to do on August the 16th. He's got to get through Dillian White first. And you know, Dillian's been a tough battler, gladiator. He's been in with them all, and he's dangerous. You know, he's got a great left hook. He's seen it, and if he's in the best shape he can be at this stage of his career, then look, it could be tough for Moses if he doesn't get rid of him early. A little bit like Alois found tonight in that fight with Ellis Zoro. You know, everyone's saying, oh, Moses will just maybe win early and make a statement, and it's the right fight at the right time. Look, if Dillian gets into it, he can hit hard, and he could make it a difficult night for Moses. So I think it's one step at a time. Let's look forward to each fight, and I think Moses against Dillian is a great test for the young Chatham man. I can't wait to be there. It's another great fight for the summer, and a really good card. So I want to enjoy that. I think Oleksandr Usyk needs to take a break, be with his family, and decide what he wants to do next. I think Joseph Parker is the fighter that deserves the opportunity. But of course, it's all about what makes the most commercial sense too. Will it be a third fight with an AJ or Tyson Fury? Could someone like Deontay Wilder come in left field? Who knows what's going to happen? And Ajit Kabayel's another guy that's waiting and looks the real deal too. So there's lots of fights that could be made. Of course, Moses Itauma would love the opportunity. He wants to fight everybody. He wants to be this young world champion and fast track himself. But look, what happens if it is too soon and Usyk is just too good for Itauma at this stage? Maybe he is the best challenge. Yeah. We don't. It is early. It's really early, and it's like Jaya Pattaya. I mean, are the two fighters to possibly have the best chance against Usyk, Jaya Pattaya or Moses Itauma? But is that fair on Joseph Parker, who's waited his opportunity? He's in the form of his life under Andy Lee, and he'll fancy his chances against Usyk. So, look, I think let's enjoy what we had last week, which was a cracking performance from Oleksandr, undisputed for a third time. We'll wait and see what happens with Moses and Dillian. But if Moses does a job on Dillian on August the 16th, then maybe His Excellency will come out and say he wants that fight next. And as you say, most things that he says he wants happen. Maybe not everything, but we'll see. And he has changed the face of boxing. So, look, and would it be a fight we'll all clamour to see? Of course it would be. Would Moses take it? Probably, because he's that, he believes in himself and he's that relentless. But I said to Moses, I'd love to see him go and spend some time in Oleksandr's camp, his training camp, because he's been in with Fury, he's been obviously in with AJ and shared a stable with him. And what I love is that every other fighter thinks that Moses is a really great fighter. So that's what makes you believe that Moses probably is that heir apparent, but it's Oleksandr Usyk's time at the moment, and we wait and see. But yeah, you never know in boxing. Strange things happen, and if he gets his chance, Moses will, I'm sure, take it against Oleksandr Usyk. But for me, I think just wait a little bit. It's Dillian White next, then they're talking, I don't know, maybe a Martin Bakole, and then who knows, maybe the titles fragment, you get a vacant belt, and then maybe it's Usyk down the line. But how many fights has Oleksandr Usyk won? He's told me he wants 2 more before the Dubois fight. So maybe that's one fight in the Ukraine at some stage. Maybe he's loving it so much he wants 3, 4 more. And if that's the case, maybe who will go in with Itauma? Could it be the passing of the torch? I mean, who would say would beat Usyk on the performance last week? Would Moses even say it? Of course he would. He'd back himself. But we've got to remember that he's not been in a real acid test yet, Moses. The manner of victory has been so emphatic and so impressive, and we're so excited about him. And he's 20 years of age, and he's just an incredible talent. But this sport is about levels and timing. Is he quite at that level, and is the time right? For me, let's look forward to Dillian White first.
Fantastic. Final question from me, Adam. It's been a fight that's maybe been leaked in the last 24 hours, which happens all the time in the modern age. But just wanted to get your opinion. We're expecting it to maybe be announced on Monday. Dave Allen, Arslan Bek, Makhmudov, October the 11th in Sheffield. If the rumours are true and it does go ahead, I'm going to be blunt with you. Is it a good idea for Dave? Because he's fought Johnny Fisher, who's kind of maybe English level, below British level. He was rumoured to fight Jamie TKV. And now fighting Makhmudov, who we've seen lose, but has fought as a high level, is a very dangerous puncher. Just thoughts on that fight, if it is going to happen.
I know nothing. If it happens, look, it's an opportunity for Dave, isn't it? He's willing to take any fight. I sat with him at Boxfest the other night, and he'd love a shot at the British title. It looks like Fraser and TKV have got that. So. Yeah, they've got to find opponents for him, and it's a difficult one because do you pitch him in against top 10, top 15, top 20? Where is Dave Allen? He's just reignited his career. Everybody loves him. He's a cult hero. He wants his homecoming in Sheffield. That's what Eddie wants. And look, if it's a fight they feel he can win, then they'll make that decision. You know, we're not matchmakers. We're broadcasters. We follow the sport, and we want as many 50-50 fights as we can, or intriguing fights, or curiosity. And I'd love to see Dave certainly get good financial rewards now for what he's put into the sport, but also the chance to keep his name in the lights, and win or lose, he'll give it absolutely everything. So. I'm sure if he's signed that fight, it's a fight that he thinks he can win, and a fight that he will expect to. But yeah, it's a dangerous one, very dangerous.
Great. Adam Smith, thank you very much for your time. We'll speak to you soon.
No problem.